Hey, welcome back to another episode of the TVC Collector. We're going to get into some more sales of things that went on in between March 24th and 27th. They got quite a bit of stuff that I want to cover and just to kind of look at where prices, they go up and down. Obviously, I don't cover every single thing, every single figure that was sold, but just some of the interesting things that happen and see what's going on in TVC as far as collecting wise goes. So let's just get into it. I thought this one was real interesting here right off the bat. We had a lot of 10 TVC VC 269 clone trooper phase 2s from the Andor series. So somebody sold all 10 of these for 280 plus what was it, about 294 shipped. So if you break that down, between 10, that's over what, $28 per figure. That's I didn't realize these were going so high, so maybe they weren't that much, well produced uh, when Hasbro put them out. So, but that was an interesting sale that, somebody bought a whole lot of them for 10, still carded. Didn't really get into the details of whether they were mint cards or whatnot. I just assumed somebody's trying to army build these things. So, pretty interesting. Some of these lots, and I've got a couple of the lots that came up here. Here was another one that was really interesting. This was the Jocasta New, the Brian's Toy exclusive, but the ones that we've been covering in the previous videos, they've been still factory sealed. This one was not. This one was the figure, and he had the card, but it was off the card. You can see the bubble has been taken off the card, and he put another shot of it here. So he opened it up. He has the figure still in the bubble, or maybe it fell off the bubble. I'm not sure, but he took out the Count Dooku piece, and so he has all of that. But that's not all that it came with it. He had a Clone Wars era Hondo Onaka with the little Salacious Crumb dude. I can't think of the Quaikian monkey lizard, I think their names are. But anyway, that was a 2009 or 10 figure. I think it was 2009 in the Clone Wars animated series. He also had the Cad Bane with the Toto 360. That was a Clone Wars action figure. So he threw in quite a few of these things. There was a Zeb from Rebels, and then one of the Wookiee warriors from the Rebels cartoon as well. So that was in the Wookiee style or in the Rebel style packaging. And then I believe that was the droid from Jabba's Clone Wars Jabba. It has a number, but that escapes me. Let me see if he listed it down here. TC70. So yeah, that came with the Jabba the Hutt Clone Wars packaging. So that was like 2009 as well. I actually have this droid in my display cabinet. So, and then here again, another officer. But anyway, 220 for that entire lot. And I thought that was a pretty interesting sale there for, if you wanted to open this. It didn't appear he had taken this out of the bubble, but maybe he did and kept the bubble and put it back in. I'm not 100% sure. So, anyway, that's quite a few figures for, was that actually 237 by the time it gets shipped to your door. So here's another factory case sealed of Mimban Stormtroopers VC-123. Um, so actually, the seller has two of these factory sealed. He sold this one for 100, and it looks like 110 plus another 1388 for shipping. So that's about 123, 124. And if you're curious, he actually has one left. So he had two of these. He sold one and he's got another one. So if you like Mimban Stormtroopers and you want a factory case sealed, there you go. There's one right there. Next up, this seller had two Lumats, VCO14, and they looked like they were both unpunched. He has sold both of them. I believe he sold both of these separately. The best offer accepted on these was 117. So with the $5 shipping, we're still at about 124, 125, basically right where he was asking for them. But they looked a little bowed. Didn't really see, that was not uncommon for a lot of these older figures, but I don't see any damage with these or whatnot. So it looks like they went for about 124 shipped each. So there you go. There's the current prices on Lumat. Another Tarkin. Seems like we got a Tarkin every few days that sells unpunched. These again are still holding their value pretty well at 130 shipped for the Grand Moff Tarkin. Next up, now we get into some of the big boys. So this was the Revenge of the Jedi Leia. This was the Revenge card with a prototype armor sticker, punched VC64. Looked like it was in pretty clean condition. The card laid reasonably flat. Didn't look like it had a lot of bows in it. So 250 for that. That's a nice figure there. But it gets even more interesting. Next up is someone sold a Revenge of the Jedi, the Salacious Crumb, from the Death Star, the 2011 Death Star San Diego Comic Con set. And this particular one he had listed for $899, but the best offer accepted on it was $475, plus another 1660 shipped. So roughly about 490 for this figure. That is not a bad price. It looked to be in pretty decent condition. I didn't see any major creases. You'll notice one of these little peg things right here. That is common for 1.0 figures. I don't know if they had them on a conveyor belt back in the day, but that happens. You can also see down here at the bottom, there's a little wave to this card, and that again is not uncommon with those figures that was in the Death Star playset. I've got a couple of these open, and they're hardly ever super pristine, but they're decent. They're nice. You can put this in an acrylic case, and these have come down a lot. Especially since the release of the VC66A in the Jabba's playset. These were running for $900 to $1,000, and the mouse droid was even more expensive. But 475, 490 shipped. That's about what this one went for, which is they're coming down. Next up, we had one of the big boys. This is the multi-language pill VC20 Yoda, the Canadian Yoda or the North or South American Yoda, whatever you want to call him. But 545, so about 560 shipped for one of these. It was a punch version. It did look pretty clean. I didn't see any major damages to the back of the card um, on here. And he even held a picture of it held up straight, so it's not really bowed. So that's a pretty nice sample of that card. But yeah, these still go for quite a bit if you want one. Next up, we got some graded figures. So this was a good deal. This was the second release. This was not the original release, but this was the Hoth 2021 release of Luke Skywalker VC95. This is one of my favorites though because even in the re-release, I mean it's offerless. There's no offer in it. They do put the little paperwork in there, but that's legal paperwork. That's not because of an offer. So this one was actually a pretty good deal for a graded 9.0 figure. The seller sold it or listed it at 129.99. It actually sold for 115 on a best offer accepted, and that was with free shipping. So that's a pretty good price if you want a really crisp graded 9.0 figure. That was a good one right there. One of my favorites. This one was graded, and this one was actually in Germany. So this was a really nice one. This was a nice sample. It was a UKG 90 gold. Return of the Jedi, unpunched Luke Skywalker. So that's a really nice figure there with the Boba Fett offer on it. So this was the retail version, but he got it out of a case. Probably ordered the case, so it's not like it was hanging on the pegs. Interesting on this. I've talked about this in previous videos. This is another sticker, a European sticker, but I've seen this sticker once or twice, but it's specific more or less to Germany. So the ones in the UK were quite a bit different. I did not pull this up ahead of time, but bear with me here and I'll pull it up just a second. So let's go to VC23. No, I'm sorry, not VC23, VC21. The Gamorrean Guard. So this is the Gamorrean Guard sticker. This is one that I got from the UK. This is the normal sticker. When I got this way back when, it was new back then, and I wanted to see the card underneath. So I peeled the sticker off very, very slowly, and I stuck it to a piece of printer paper. So this is what that sticker looks like when I talk about these a lot of the times. The European releases, outside of those 11 or 12 I've mentioned before that were physically printed cards, the rest of them they quickly changed over to just a card that was an American card with the European stickers over the top of it. But that's a different sticker, as you can see, as this sticker here. So it's quite a bit different in the sticker wise. I'm not myself into stickers, but I know a lot of people who are that like those variations. But I just wanted to point that out. That's a different sticker. And there's actually another European sticker that was in the early time, but I'll cover that on another video. So, but this was a really nice figure. It went for what, 233.25. I don't know what the shipping was because it would have been 28.91 had I bought it, but that's not really, I don't know what the shipping was, whether he sold it international or local. So, let's just call it 240. That's about what that went for, but that's a really nice for an unpunched Return of the Jedi Luke UKG 90. That's a nice figure. So let's move on here. This one was a really nice figure. This was a uncirculated 9.5. And so this was the most recent release of the Clone Wars Shock Trooper VC374. Now this seller who listed it for $1,000, but he accepted 250 on that. So that was 250 shipped for a 9.5. And I've observed that that's about where 9.5s are going, is in the 200 to 250 range, depending on the character. Again, if it was some mainline character like a Vader or Luke, it might go for more, or even a Princess Leia. But some of these Clone Wars figures and other figures, they seem to be in that 2 to 250 range is what they're going for. But 9.5 is about as good as it gets. Seeing something like a 9.75 or a 10.0 is extremely rare. They're usually one of one on the population report. So that is a super high graded, uncirculated figure, meaning he's sent in a case and then they graded the case. They opened the case uncirculated and he got a 9.5 on it. So that's a really nice figure right there. If you like Clone Wars and if you like Shock Troopers. So getting away from some of the single carded figures, and let's just look at, I like to look at a variety of stuff, things that are selling with play sets or multi-language, or not multi-language, sorry, play sets, or with some of these multi-packs like battle packs or whatever. So the Ewok catapults, always here again, these still sell. Was it 14 years later, because these came out in 2012. You can see the Kmart exclusive sticker on it there, though. This one was listed for 125. The best offer accepted on it was $100. So again, in between that 85 to $100 range, we still see these consistently sell. That's what they go for, and those are really cool. I got one in my display case next to a Chicken Walker ATST. This one here was the Boba Fett's throne room with the Bib Fortuna. This is interchangeable with the new Jabba dais. So if you get the Jabba dais, you can use this for either the Jabba, or you can use it for the, in this case, the fat bib. There's the fat bib that came on it if you watch the series. And again, I've talked about this before. I actually have mine set up with, not with fat bib, but I put bib after he shoots bib, or boba after he shoots bib. I put that on there, and put Mando and Chrysanthemum and so on and so forth in there, because I have a different display from my Jabba, which I really like. But this was a really cool piece. It came with over like 50 accessories. I mean, you can see all these accessories down here. It's a bit of a chore getting it all set up. But really cool, super cool piece. And this one he had listed for 370. The best offer accepted was 315, plus another $29 to ship. So that's about 340 for that item. Well, I think I just covered one on the previous video where it went just a little bit cheaper. You can get these for 250 to 275 in that range. So this one went for quite a bit higher. But that's TVC. Sales fluctuate; they go up and down. Next, moving on, this was the HasLab Mos Eisley Deluxe add-on. So again, it's not the rest of the cantina with the bar. This is just the extra piece that they put in the box that has the extra alcoves that takes it from the base unit to the deluxe unit. So you have the whole other side where Han shot Greedo first. Everybody knows that. Anyway, this is a 180, so about 210 shipped just for that one piece. So that's an interesting price if you just want that one piece, because someone else is selling the base unit without without the figures. And I kind of did the same thing when I ordered one of these. I ordered a base unit. I ordered a deluxe unit, but also ordered a base unit because I wanted just the figures out of it. And then I turned around and sold the base unit. So I think, and this was again a year or two ago, but when I sold my base unit, I'm wanting to say I got about $200 for it. So, but this base unit here went for 225 uh, plus another $135 shipped. Wow, that's a lot for just the base unit with no figures. So you're paying a lot for shipping on that, and those were heavy. They were very heavy in the box, even the base unit. So it was a really, really heavy box. I think the only one that was heavier was probably the Ghost itself. The Razor's Crest was not that heavy in the box. Neither was the sail barge. The sail barge was actually unusually light because it had a lot of styrofoam in it, and it's not a super heavy ship. But these deluxe boxes are heavy, and so man, you're talking 225 plus another 135. Uh, that's somewhere in the what 460 range for that shipped for a base unit with no figures. And he did put it's a base unit. It's not the deluxe. So that's a lot of money for just the base unit with no figures, and then here's another 230, to get the actual deluxe. So if you compare those prices to, here's a deluxe cantina sealed. So here's the one that has both the base unit and the add-on piece that was with it in there, and so that went for 750. So I have seen these go cheaper, anywhere from 650 to 700, in there. So I might even have another one. Here's another one with the price point. So it's about the same price, 750 for this shipped, 755 on this one. So that's about what the deluxe ones are going for. Versus if he got out a little cheaper with the base unit, but he didn't get any figures with it. So those figures are worth, if you buy all of them together, I've seen them go for 350ish, even up to 400, 375, in that range. So anyway, just some current info on what the cantinas are still going for. This one was interesting here. It was a Republic gunship. This was the 2013 Toys R Us exclusive. This was opened, but he did have everything that he was able to break it back down, apparently, and put it back into the original baggie. So he kept all of that. And so this was $400, 420 shipped for this. So loose but complete. And it looks like he threw a Yoda in there as well. So interesting one there. I think these sealed, we see these go for, $600 still. They're in that 6 to 650 range for a sealed one. But here's one where someone was going to open it up anyway, so they saved themselves some money and got the loose one that was complete. So interesting sale there. Next up, the Antok Merrick. Again, this thing's consistently going for, with the shipping, about $200 shipped. So really nice X-wing. And again, the carded figure inside is really the prize that everybody's after, and that goes for $100. So that's half of the cost of these things. So, but these things are continuing to hold their value. Next up, we had a Ghost. So this Ghost, once again, this was a good deal somebody got. So Razor Crests are on a rise. Ghosts are on the decline. So if you are looking for a Ghost, this is a good time to buy one. 430. So with shipping, that is what, 536. And I mentioned on a previous video, as a Hasbro Pulse Premium member, and I ordered these, it was 541 shipped with free shipping to my house. This went for 535. So this is actually less than retailed for, which again, it wasn't retailed, it was a HasLab and you had to pre-pack it. But yeah, it's a good time if you want to buy something instead of buying a Razor Crest. People tend to buy what's hot, what's going on, and obviously we talked about the Razor Crest is coming up in the new movie, and the Ghost is kind of on the down low right now. So if you're looking for a Ghost, now would be the time to buy one. You're going to get them. I think I covered one in the previous video, maybe in the last week or two, where it was literally right at retail. This one was actually less than what they originally retailed for. So uh, here we go with Razor Crest though. This one went for a lot. So here again, this went for 950. I don't know what the shipping was, but because this was down in Australia, it was in Thomastown, Australia. The shipping to me would have cost $140, but The ship itself went for 950. So if it went locally, I'm sure it went for cheaper than that. But anyway, these things go for a lot. If you're an Australia buyer, it's uh, sometimes you're going to pay a lot for it to get them down there. Versus I've seen some sell here in the U.S. and then of course you still got to pay for the shipping to get them down there. But that's what it goes for in Australia. Now compare that to this one here went for 575 shipped. This does not look like it had the original shipper box, but it was factory sealed. So he didn't keep the original shipper box. So this was a great price again, especially if you don't care about the box and you don't, you're going to open it anyway. So 575, that's a pretty good price on them. But again, they're here in the States, they're, in the shipper box, you're going to pay about 600 to 650 for these. So I hope you enjoyed this look at everything. This is where things were going again, roughly between March 24th and March 27th. So if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification button, and you'll get notifications when I post new videos. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.